everybody. Welcome back. And as a critical thinkers, we are here to discuss about social, political, and economic issues around the globe. First of all, we would like to talk about America. Issues concerning President Donald Trump. We shall call his era Trumperism. The era of President Donald Trump. Donald Trump has come back to the White House, and he has promised Americans of making America great again. And with the realization of America's golden age, his coming back has really made a lot of people to shiver. People are afraid of his coming. They are afraid because they think Donald Trump's radical approach in his campaign, if he is to pursue, will be disastrous. According to them, Donald Trump will retaliate some of the things that have been done in the past. Also, Donald Trump will initiate policies that will go against what they think they have achieved for the collective. So there is fear about his coming. But folks, do not be afraid. Why are you afraid? Because after all, he is to make America great again. And also, for America to realize a golden age. So his coming can be a godsend to America. But sometimes also it can be the other way around. So that's why there is fear. But do not be afraid. Put away all forms of trepidation, because there is nothing that President Donald Trump would do or is doing that has not happened in American history. Therefore, Donald Trump is Atavism of American historical figures. And as an Atavism of American historical figures, we are going to look into his policies one by one and relate it to the past and see that he has revisited the past, but it's nothing new. Based upon that, we can use that to analyze his policies one by one and where to praise the policy or where to come with a critical mind of advising. If they will take it, I know people won't take it serious, so they may not take it, but who knows? And so we have to examine his policies one by one. But before that, let us go into history to see who is Donald Trump representing. Who are those that Donald Trump has come as Atavism? First of all, his immigration policy reflects what John Adams did. John Adams, the second president of the United States of America, under the second system of America, federalism, and under the second Constitution of America, federalism, came out with immigration policy. He came out with the Alien and Sedition Act, in 1798. And according to the Alien Act, anyone to come to America, instead of staying for 5 years to become a citizen, it was extended to 14 years so that people will not get citizenship so quick in order to vote for Democrat-Republican Party funded by Thomas Jefferson. In this same policy, the president was given the power to arrest, to imprison, and to deport any alien in the country. The second part of the policy is the Sedition Act. The Sedition Act was designed to attack anyone who will overthrow a government. The Sedition Act was a law limiting free speech. It made it a crime for anyone to write or say anything insulting the authority or write anything falsehood about the president, Congress, and the government. Adams' immigration policy antagonized his vice president, Thomas Jefferson. Because of that, Thomas Jefferson and Madison went to the States and finally came out with the Virginia, Kentucky resolutions so as to repeal Adams' law. By that time, the Judicial Service did not have the judicial review power to declare any act unconstitutional. This power given to the Judicial Service, the Supreme Court, was gained during the Madison versus Marbury case in 1803. So at the time John Adams came out with the Alien and Sedition Act, the Supreme Court did not have that power. And so he was able to implement the Alien and Sedition Act. Upon this, Thomas Jefferson, who did not like the policy, in 1800 election, John Adams lost. And Thomas Jefferson and his running mate had the same electoral vote, 73 each. And then Congress decided, by the help of Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson won. And he repealed all the laws that Adams had brought, the Alien and Sedition Act. Based upon this, we could see Donald Trump had revisited John Adams' policy. The past in his immigration policy, conservatives always go back and pick up something, polish it, and bring it as if it is new. So Donald Trump's policy is not new. He is deporting immigrants. He is imprisoning immigrants the same way John Adams have done before him. So he has revisited the past. So Donald Trump is an atavism of American historical past figures. Secondly, we can also connect Donald Trump's coming to Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson believed in state rights and small central government, equally like Donald Trump. He believed in small government and state right. When we look at Thomas Jefferson, he reduced the size of the federal government by firing all federal tax collectors. Furthermore, he reduced the size of the military from 4,000 to 2,500. And he maintained only 2 regiments, one for artillery and one for infantry. Based upon that, the military was reduced finally to 3,500 men. In addition, he reduced the size of the Navy. He cut down the number of U.S. diplomats and reduced American embassies around the world and maintained only 3, one in Britain, France, and Spain. Finally, Jefferson reduced the size of the bureaucracy. Upon this, Donald Trump had equally fired federal employees with a target of firing 2 million employees. He has killed the education department and moved education responsibilities to the states. Thomas Jefferson was the first president to embark on trade war against U.S. major trading partner to solve the British impressment problem. And President Donald Trump has gone back to apply a trade war policy to solve Americans' debt problem. This is a complete atavism, as both have demonstrated small government, state rights, and protectionism. So Donald Trump has gone back into history. Then also, another atavism of President Donald Trump is President Andrew Jackson, often known as King Andrews. Andrew Jackson was a killer of institutions. He killed the National Bank of the United States of America. And for 71 years, America existed without a central bank. President Donald Trump, on the other hand, had killed the education department of the federal government and had also killed Roe versus Wade, making it difficult for women to decide on their own bodies. If America want to go back to get all these that Donald Trump have destroyed, it will take years, equally like Andrew Jackson, who killed the National Bank, and it took 71 years until 1913 under President Woodrow Wilson that the Fed was created. And today we all know the significance of the Fed in American economy. But all along, President Andrew Jackson did not see or could not foresee the significance of a central bank in a society. Donald Trump, like Andrew Jackson, had attacked the election of 2020 and disturbed Joe Biden's government throughout the 4 years of federal terms. Equally, Andrew Jackson criticized the 1824 election that brought John Adams to office. And Andrew Jackson called that election a corrupt bargain. And for 4 years, he disturbed John Quincy Adams until he won in 1828. And Donald Trump also disturbed until he has come to win the 2024 election. Andrew Jackson took all the federal money from the federal bank and put it in state banks. And Donald Trump has pushed educational responsibilities to the states. They are all the same. Andrew Jackson and Van Buren removed the Indians from Georgia to Oklahoma without paying attention to the Supreme Court ruling. When the Supreme Court ruled that the Cherokees could not be removed, Andrew Jackson said, "The Chief Justice have made his ruling, let him enforce it." We all know the Supreme Court does not enforce the law of the land. It is the president who enforces the law of the land. Supreme Court only interprets the law, adjudicates the law, and Congress enacts the law. So by saying the Chief Justice should enforce it, indicate that he was not going to enforce that law. Now let's look what is going on with President Donald Trump and the Vice President J.D. Vance. Are removing immigrants without giving much attention to the court ruling. This is a revisit of the past. It's nothing new, but it's old. Now, like Andrew Jackson, who believe in the spoil system, that the spoil system belongs to the victors. So if you play the game and you win, all the spoils is for you. Therefore, he has to give jobs to his political allies, political friends, sometimes to family members, and people who support the cause. So to the victor is the spoils, according to Andrew Jackson. And what do we see here today in Donald Trump's government? It is also firing and replacing them with his political allies. Here, thereby, Donald Trump has revisited Andrew Jackson of 1828 to 1836. The same thing. Nothing new and nothing different. They are of the same direction. It's just that his approach today has been polished and cover up so that you may not know. But in historical terms, Donald Trump is an atavism of American historical past figures. Andrew Jackson's specie money sent American economy into panic situation and eventually led to a depression. And we are yet to see what will happen to Donald Trump's economic policies. Whether it will end up the same way with Andrew Jackson, or maybe they have done their homework very well, that it will turn out to be a good thing for Americans today, that America will be great again, and we will realize a golden age in Donald Trump's era. Both Andrew Jackson and Donald Trump believe in the nativist agenda that America is for Americans. Everything America is for Americans. That was Andrew Jackson, King Andrews. And here we have Donald Trump also believing in the same thing, that America is for Americans. Is it not the same? They are all the same. The same slogan. Therefore, Donald Trump has revisited the past. Then again, we will look into American past of the manifest destiny, which has been revisited by Donald Trump. The expansionists, like President Polk, the great expansionists, believe that America must rule from the East Coast to the West Coast. America must control from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's what has been known as manifest destiny. So he stationed American troops to antagonize the Mexicans so that he could take all the way to California to the Pacific. And that is what we call manifest destiny. Today, what do we see in President Donald Trump? An atavism of President Polk. He wants America now to move from the south to the north by demanding Canada to be part of the United States, and then also trying to control Greenland. Already America has Alaska. So America is moving northwest. And in the south, he wants the Gulf of Mexico to be named Gulf of America. So instead of east to the west, he is now demanding south to the north. So if he is able to get any of this area, that is manifest destiny. Now also, President Donald Trump wanted places like Panama Canal. Does he want Panama itself or only the canal? He has also extended his ambition to get Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip in the Middle East is also on his agenda. And that is going to be an era of imperialism. But an era of imperialism is old in today's world. But it's a reflection of 1845 to 1849 America under President Polk as an expansionist who extended America to the Pacific coast. So today, President Donald Trump wants to extend from the south to the north. If he's able to get Canada and Greenland, which means America controls the entire north, because already America had Alaska, which was sold to America by the Russians. In his rise to power, President Donald Trump, a lesson of winning, losing, and winning, has demonstrated the atavism of President Grover Cleveland, who came, lost, and came back. So Cleveland was the first to rule America, and then consecutive terms of 1885 to 1889 and 1893 to 1897. Cleveland, the one who won, lost, and won back to the White House. And now also, President Donald Trump is behaving like President Hoover. President Hoover, in his time, was to issue a policy of tariff, a trade policy of tariff. And this trade policy, nobody could advise him. Nobody could stop his idea. He believed in himself. If you're an outsider and you advise Hoover, he will not take it. And President Donald Trump is also doing the same like President Hoover. He will not take any advice from anyone who is outside his circle. He doesn't believe that. He believes in himself. So looking at all these connections, everything Donald Trump is doing is never a new thing. It's an old policies that have been polished to be given to America today. Based upon that, we will therefore go in to analyze Donald Trump's policies one by one. So this lecture is going to be in series. So viewers, when you view one series, go to the second one, the third and the fourth, until you finish everything to understand what is going on in the country today. For everything which is being done has its historical connection. And if it will be good, we shall see. If it will not, we shall also see. And we can also come out with a voice to redirect America into a new path. Based upon the past history that Donald Trump is representing, we can now analyze his policies and give him praise in areas he is succeeding, and add some suggestions to areas of critical concern. President Donald Trump has come back, and we have to see America becoming great again, and a realization of a golden age. And from all analysis, we shall see whether we are going to see that golden age or it's going to be a debunk.